Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to our council meeting tonight. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'll ask Pastor Fair. He's in the audience. Good to see you, Pastor. Would you lead us in our prayer, and we'll go right into the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. God, we do thank you so much for today and just the blessings of life that you've given us. God, we thank you for this time that you've allowed us to come here tonight. And God, now we ask that you just be with us. God, move within our presence. Give us wisdom and clarity. God, again, we pray for each of these council people. God, we pray for our mayor in the great city of Northport, God, and we pray for our citizens, not only here but all across our country. God, give us discernment to where we should seek your face. We ask all this now in Christ's most holy and precious name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Rose, call roll, please.
Councilman Hambright.
Here.
President Logan.
Here.
Councilman Sullivan.
Here.
Councilman Davis.
Here.
Councilman Hogg.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Item 5 was approval of the agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, in our pre-meeting, we went over quite a bit of items in our pre-meeting. I know we had some visitors to address the council. Those have been deleted or taken off, and we'll reschedule those as we see fit, I guess. And I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as printed. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hambright. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hambright.
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. President.
Thank you. New business item 8B1 is a resolution of a temporary nature. It's a resolution authorizing our city administrator's office to enter into an agreement or lease agreement with Pitney Bowes. Ms. Hoffman, this is basically our metering or postage machine that's in City Hall, where all of our, pretty much everybody in City Hall uses it for putting out postage and mail outs. Is that correct? That's correct. And we really can't find any other pieces of equipment that would try to service the existing one, so we're having to do a 60-month lease agreement with Pitney Bowes for a postage meter, simply because the one that we have, we probably need to surplus it, right? Yes. Thank you. I'll make a motion to adopt that resolution authorizing our city administrator's office to enter into a 60-month lease agreement with Pitney Bowes for a postage meter and mailing system in the annual amount of $3,906.60. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Sullivan. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilman Hambright.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. President.
Thank you. Item 2 is a resolution declaring certain items as surplus and authorizing the proper disposal. Chief Marshal.
Yes, sir. This is a request for to surplus a 2005 4R fire truck and a 2004 Ford Expedition that have reached their useful lifespan for our department.
Thank you, Chief. In our pre-meeting, I know Johnny with Romulus, their fire department outfit, I think they requested an interest in the 2000 Ford Expedition. And I think the council was very amenable to it. And Ron, this basically just needs to be in the form of a motion in addition to what we have already, correct?
Yes, sir. And then if you want to dispose of it by donating it to the Romulus Volunteer Fire Department, you can do so in your motion, or by separate motion. Either way, you could combine it in one motion or have it in vote, or do it separately.
All right. Also, the fire truck, actually, I think it was mentioned in one of our committee meetings that maybe we could try to surplus it, see what we get, and if we don't get what we ask, we'll bring it back and let council address it at a later date. So if it pleases mayor and council, I like to separate it. That way we can separate the two pieces of equipment with it being surplus. So I'll separate it, meaning I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution declaring certain items, more specifically the 2000 Ford Expedition, as surplus and donating this to Romulus Fire Department. That's in the first form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Hambright.
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
That motion carries, Mr. President.
Thank you. Again, off agenda, this is the separation of the two. I'll move to adopt a resolution declaring certain items, more specifically the 2005 fire truck, surplus it as equipment, and of course surplus it authorizing the proper disposal, with council having the final deciding factor in what to do with it once it comes back. So I know it's a little lengthy, a little wordy, but that way it'll go to auction. If we don't get what we ask, we can always bring it back. So that's in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Sullivan. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Hambright,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. President.
Thank you. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the City Administrator's Office to execute professional engineering requisitions related to the Buckhead Lift Station improvements. This is with McGifford and Associates, LLC. Mr. Ingram.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, Mayor, members of council. In 2016, we had identified the Buckhead Pump Station as the next pump station to move forward with replacement or rehabilitation. We were going to do that this budget year. And at that time, I had asked McGifford and Associates to go ahead and prepare a task order. However, about 3 weeks ago, we had pretty steady rains over the course of the weekend, and the pump station started having some problems. We kept it running through the weekend and brought in a maintenance repair crew on Monday to help us do some initial repairs to it. But at that time, I'd asked McGifford to go ahead and move ahead with, kind of on an emergency footing, to move ahead with some design concepts on how we could quickly and effectively rehab that station. And item 8B3 ties in with item 8C11, which is a PO to the Eshelman Company for $58,779. That is a prepackaged pump station. From the time we authorize Eshelman to begin construction, it'll take them about 6 weeks to get that thing completed and on site. And at that time, we'll move forward with a contractor on site to replace the pump station, which will take approximately, shouldn't take any more than about a week to get that thing in place and up and running. This pump station, of the 26 pump stations we have in operation, this is one of 3 vacuum prime stations. All the rest of our stations are submersible. And this package station that we're looking to purchase, along with the engineering portion of the contract, will be a submersible station as well.
All right, thank you, Larry. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the City Administrator's Office to execute any requisitions for the professional engineering services by McGifford and Associates, LLC, pertaining to the Buckhead Lift Station improvement project? I'll make that in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hambright,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. President.
Thank you. Item 4 is a resolution authorizing the City Administrator's Office to execute professional engineering requisitions related to the CWSRF and the DWSRF projects pre-application process to McGifford and Associates, LLC. Mr. Ingram.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Last year, we had started looking towards the possibility of some funding to help us out with some of the capital improvements we've got on the system. We received notification from ADM that they had extended the 2017 funding deadline through the end of February. At that point, I pulled McGifford in to start conversations with them. The drinking water SRF and the clean water SRF, the drinking water, as self-explanatory, is for drinking water improvements. Clean water is for sanitary sewer improvements. What this will do is allow us to do a pre-application for around just over $9 million in funding. This pre-application, if accepted and approved and we're put on the funding list by ADM, we will have to move forward with a full application package, which is a little more detailed, and I believe is due, I believe in May. Darrell, is that correct? So we will be coming back for some additional funds for Darrell and also for McGifford and Krebs, because some of this work is at the wastewater plant and the water plant. The projects range from, that we've identified off our capital list, range from computer and control upgrades at both plants. Both of those plants were built in the 90s. We just want to do some upgrades there just to have a lot more reliability and redundancy. Shirley Tank project, 2 booster stations within the water system and some other improvements and updates at the water plant. 7 pump stations on the wastewater side, the computer and control upgrades as well on the wastewater plant side, and also an additional vacuum truck for the wastewater crews. And then, like I say, this is simply the pre-application. This doesn't lock us into anything at this point. If we start looking at all the numbers and it just doesn't work, then we can back out before we sign the agreement. And the loan will be for 20 years at 2.2%.
All right, thank you, Larry. Again, we've got a $43 million capital wish list. Maybe $9 million will knock some dent in it at 2.2% over 20 years. SCADA upgrades, Shirley Tank improvements, for the most part, 2 boosters under clean water, maybe pump station, Smith Station, Carroll's Creek, Airport Road Pump Station.
Yeah, yes, there's 7 pump
Abbreviated.
stations total. It'll be the Upper Smith Creek, Carroll's Creek, stations 1 and 2, the airport pump stations, and the 2 remaining vacuum prime stations in Northwood Lake.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to adopt that resolution authorizing the city administrator's office to execute any and all professional engineering requisitions related to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund and Drinking Water State Revolving Fund projects pre-application process?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hambright,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. President.
Thank you. Item 5 is a resolution declaring certain items as surplus, authorizing the proper disposal. Ms. Starnes.
Yes, sir, this is some miscellaneous office equipment. They range from an answering machine, keyboard, mouse, cassette tape recorder, cassette tapes, and 3.5-inch disc.
You forgot to mention 8-track, all that, because nobody uses 3.5 floppy disk anymore. But whatever you want to get from them, Brooke, that's good. We had a cassette tape, an 8-track, a mouse, a keyboard, an Atari system, circa 1978. All that's in there. So, but thank you, Brooke. I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution declaring these items as surplus and authorizing the proper disposal. We may get something on the antique market at eBay. I don't know. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hambright. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hambright,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. President.
Thank you. Item C is consent agenda. There's 12 items, ladies and gentlemen. They range from minutes of the previous meeting, bill listings, PO requisition, of course, out of our fire department for life packs from physio control, travel and training for various employees. The PO that Larry Ingram referenced, ladies and gentlemen, earlier is 8C11. That's the Buckhead Pump Station upgrade. Again, that's the submersible package unit. Again, it's a plug and go. Takes about 6 weeks, maybe another week and a half for installation. But again, that's the PO requisition for that one. And of course, PO requisition for our public works for a work truck. Again, is there a motion to approve that consent agenda as printed?
I make that motion, Mr. President.
Thank you. That's a motion by Councilman Hambright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hogg. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
Councilman Hambright,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. President.
Thank you. Item 9 is reports of special committees to council. We have one out of our Retail Development Committee. Councilman Hogg and myself serve on that one. And Councilman Hogg, if you just want to give a brief synopsis on what we discussed in our pre-meeting regarding our efforts to look into maybe doing some consulting services, or the city looking into doing some more aggressive approaches with our retail.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. A couple of months ago, the Retail Development Committee was charged with trying to find a consultant group to help us with retail development here in Northport. People that we met with were from in-state and from out-of-state, all unsolicited. They talked to the Retail Development Committee, some talked to the mayor as well. And we did our research on all of these different companies, and what we have found is the one that fits within our budget also provides the the data and the information that we need to move forward as a city, we are recommending that we enter into an agreement with Retail 360 out of Birmingham, Alabama. So, Jay, you might be able to talk more on that, or Ms. Aaron?
I think you've covered it very well.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilman. I would add one thing. Again, these were unsolicited folks, and if we're going to be real serious about retail, we got to get aggressive. You got to put some bait on the hook. And I've said this in our forum. If you mentioned, I asked everybody how many people like to go shop and go spend money. If you got a wife, you know they like to spend money, and that's okay. It's just we like for them to spend money in Northport. And if you got a husband like my, I'm a husband. I like to spend money too on shoes and everything else. See that? Cleaned it up, Mayor.
I'm glad you did.
All right. With that being said, we actually looked at a lot of different groups, Buxton Group, Retail Strategies, private development companies out of Birmingham, all over the state and out of town. And there is some interest in Northport, but some of the challenges that we face is we may not have the structure right now inside of City Hall, and that's okay. It's just we want to make sure that when we project and present our city, we've got some really good data to back us up, and to do that, it actually adds some value, in my opinion, to our local development groups and retailers around the state and, of course, the country. It's just we have to be able to look at putting some bait on the hook, and we need somebody to come in and show us how to do that the correct way. And for the money, for the fact that the contract is very exclusive to Northport, that was big, I think. The fact that they're going to only wave the banner of Northport, so you're not going to see them go to Tuscaloosa or wherever else, any city USA, so to speak, and pretty much give that data. This is all Northport, so hopefully in the next year or two, and citizens understand that we're really trying to be aggressive with retail and figure out where we want to go. Retail 360 probably offered the best options of what we're looking at currently. So again, I appreciate Councilman Hogg and, of course, Mayor Aaron's office meeting with a lot of different people the last couple of months. So it was, and I think council has got a lot of information to digest, but that's the recommendation coming from Retail Development Committee is Retail 360 LLC, pending contract. I'll clean it up, pending the legal office and our contract administration aspect of it. Pending that aspect, I think this is just a recommendation in the form of a motion from me. I'll move to adopt a resolution authorizing our city administrator's office to enter into an agreement with Retail 360 LLC to provide research, marketing, consulting services for the city after approval by the city administrator and city attorney's office in regards to the contract. So that's in the form of a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Hambright. Any questions or comments?
Just one comment real quick. I too want to say a big thank you to Councilman Hogg and Logan and Mayor Aaron. Y'all did some really good research. Certainly appreciate that. We had a lot to consider, and I'm pretty excited about moving forward with this group, but appreciate all the work y'all did on this.
That's a motion by President Logan, second by Councilman Hambright. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hambright,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Public hearings, we have none to hear tonight. City Administrator's business, Mr. Rose.
I have no business tonight, Mr.
Thank you. What I'll do, ladies and gentlemen, is I will jump from item 12, which is departmental business under Mr. Davis Legal. There's an executive session that's being asked of the mayor and council to consider. I will jump from item 12 to item 13, which is public comment. We have 3 citizens signed to speak, and what I'll do, folks, is we will have the executive session right after mayor and council members' business, right before adjournment. That way we're not keeping everybody longer than what you want to be here anyway, but I know you want to see how your government works, but if you need to leave, we understand. Again, we'll go right into public comment. This is item 13. First citizen signed to speak is Mr. Page. How you doing, sir? Ms. Page, please state your name and address for the record.
Northport, 35476. Well, I'm here to continue from last year. We talked about a few things, and we got off to a good start, but then we just dropped the ball again. It's not about the water. I've forgotten about that. I just let that go under the bridge, so to speak. But I have a new councilman. He hadn't come to meet with his constituents in Green Village. We would like to meet with them, of course, but now you know what I'm talking about. The city owns a lot next to me, which is really unkempt, and you know this. And I've asked you all to keep it up, but you will not do it. It's your all's lot. I've shown you pictures of it, but still nothing's done. Also, the lots in Green Village, the ones that are empty, you wrote a letter one time, they cut the grass once, they didn't cut it again. Okay, I've been there 20 years. I've never had my street paved. We have potholes. I mean, you have to drive around potholes. It's just a mess over there. And you know, you all said last year the money was already spoken for, but I feel like we should get some pavement, our roads should be paved sometime. I mean, in 20 years, I should have gotten some pavement in there somewhere. I mean, I've been paying my taxes 20 years over there. I mean, I never miss, you know, when the water bill come out, the sewer, the road, all that come out, I pay it. But yet and still I ask for a little something and I can't get any help. A few other things. I mean, you know, if my councilman the new council would come meet with us, he could see what's going on. I know you're new. That's why you should come meet with your constituents. Have you been to Green Village?
Sir, I have. I've met with a lot of people in Green Village.
You didn't meet with me.
I have called you a few times.
Yeah, you called me about the other thing, but I'm talking about this down.
And I have left you messages as well.
No. Well, anyway, I would like something done. Now, Jay, we talked about this. Councilman Logan, we talked about this.
All right, I got my plan of action, Mr. Page, and you let me know if this is even something that if it's remotely correct to what you were saying. You said the city owns a lot next to your lot.
You know that.
City. No, I'm just
city owns
okay.
that lot. Yeah.
All right, so we need to look and see if we do own it. We need to maintain it, correct?
That's right.
All right, hey Ron, can you do that? I got Ron and Public Works. Ron, can you verify if the city owns a lot next to Mr. Page, and if so,
Yes, sir.
and you know, within the bounds of the law, if we've got an easement where we are required to look at maintaining it, cutting the grass, can we look at making sure that within the bounds of the law, it's being done?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then you said send a letter to what I call it the weeded lot letter.
Yeah, the guy.
Okay.
The guy
Scott Stevens, are you in the building? Okay, Mr. Stevens, can we look at maybe working with the owner of Green Village, the actual property owner? I know that's owned by one person and everybody else pays.
No, it's not owned by one person.
Oh, it's not. Everybody has a lot.
No,
Individual lots. Okay. All right.
I have 2 and someone has 25, someone has 10.
Well, we can have Mr. Stevens' office with our code enforcement officer, Mr. McKinney, go by and start the process. Now you have to ask for a little patience. Everybody knows now you have to ask for a little patience. Is that right, Ms. Terry?
I've been asking for patience. I've been having patience as I can be.
Mr. Page,
I can't be no more patient than
I understand. I understand. I have to ask for patience every day, but the only thing I'm asking, you have to give my staff time.
How about my road?
Okay, I was getting to that. What I was going to do is explain the process of when we send a letter out, they have to have so many days to remedy if that doesn't work, then the city step in. We'll send it out. We'll put it out for bid. Somebody will come cut it. Then the city puts a lien on that lot.
How you gonna cut pavement? I said that.
No, I hadn't got to the payment yet, Mr. Page. I'm still explaining as far as the letter for the weeded lot to make sure everybody, I can get it on record as saying Mr. Stevens' office will go through Officer McKinney the next few days, give us a little time to identify lots that have been neglected and weeded. We do have an ordinance for it. We will then send a letter to the property owner, please cut your grass X amount of days. If that doesn't happen, then his office, Mr. Stevens, what I mentioned is he will actually go through and put those lots out for bid where a contractor will come out, cut the lot, and we'll put a lien on that particular parcel or lot. That's the weeded lot process. Again, I ask for patience on that one. the paving aspect. Again, I'll lean on my subject matter expert. Ms. Starnes, are you in the building? Okay, on paving, Mr. Page, we do have some paving, but please let me verify, is that city street? Okay, if it's city street, again, that's where city budgets come into play. Councilman Sullivan is chairman of our finance committee. Mr. Chair, I know we're still working on budgets, and paving is one aspect of it, and every district has a certain allotted amount. I don't know what it'll cost to pave all of Green Village, but I don't want to tell you something that's not true. Remember, you accused me of that last meeting. So, that being said, I will be measured in saying this. In terms of paving, please allow your respective Councilman Hogg, to have enough time to go through and put some streets on his list to do. Now, again, he's on a 4-year contract just like everybody else, and it may take him 4 years, and I certainly see that, because you may have
28 years.
I understand that, but he's on, he's only 90 days in the job.
Yeah, but still, the guy before him didn't do it. The
I
guy
understand
before
that.
him didn't do it.
Well, he may set a new trend. How about that? He may get it done.
That's right.
May.
He may get it done, but you have to give him some time. So, again,
Give
I,
him time.
Mr. Page, you listen, if anybody, I appreciate you coming up, because we have a plan of action now. So we've got legal, Ron Davis, working to, verify if that's that's the city's responsibility for the lot. And then if it is, we're going to make sure we take care of what's ours, okay? So, and then Mr. Stevens in his office will send the letter or letters regarding the lots that need to be cut. Again, process and patience is what I ask for.
Ms.
So,
Stearns know it's your lot. Is that right, Ms. Stearns?
well,
Is that
we'll-
the city's lot?
we'll verify.
The city's lot? She said yes, it's the city's lot.
Oh, it's already on schedule to be cut okay, so, okay.
Not cut, that's all the paper and stuff that, you know what I'm talking about. The city, it's not, you say you're gonna send somebody over and pick it up, the pavement, keep it picked up and everything.
Yes, sir.
Remember that
Well-
agreement you made?
Well, let's do this, Mr. Page.
That paper and all the stuff that's over there, you know,
Let's do this. Let's do this, Mr. Page. I've already got it wrapped up, so what we'll do is staff has already been aware of it. Thank you for really coming and letting us know that. And some things we are doing, and some things we'll make sure that gets done. But as far as the paving, please allow mayor and council's office to, work the budget and see what streets can be done right now, and streets have to be put on a waiting list, and that's where we've always done it in terms of individual districts. So again, with respect, just a little patience, and we will get these done.
I'll be back.
Yes, sir. We want you to come back. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Mr. Page. Thank you. Second citizen, Mr. Jody Jobson. Mr. Jobson, thank you for coming. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Jody Jobson. I live at 1534 Bellwood Lane, Northport. Y'all are doing a wonderful job. I know that your plate's heavy, but there seems to be some dissension in some of the departments of Northport. And I think about 2012 that the city hired a research company to come in and do an audit it's an information audit of the police department. And they answered a lot of questions, and a lot of people were satisfied with it, and a lot of changes were made, and everything's been running smooth. Well, there's another department that seems to be having a lot of trouble, and that'd be the fire department. So I'm asking y'all to take into consideration contacting CWH Research Incorporated. I've got the phone number and the address, and get a price and put it in the budget. If it's not too astronomically high, put it in the budget and let them come in and do an audit of the working conditions and any other. This one is 76 pages long from the police department. And it'd probably be that many pages for the fire department since they're about equal. But I think everybody get an understanding one way or the other what's going on, and a lot of the problems will be over. You get everybody working together. So that's what I'm asking. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jobson. Next citizen signed to speak is Mr. LaDerrick Steele. Mr. Steele, thank you so much. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is LaDerrick Steele. I stay at 3712 Diamond Head Lane, Northport. My concern is, as a citizen of Northport, I'm a truck driver. And living in the city of Northport, we have an awful lot of truck traffic that pass through Northport. And we don't have nowhere to park. And it's an issue when you live in Northport and you have nowhere to park your truck. Walmart has really banned a lot of people just parking their trucks at Walmart because they said it starts other trucks to park. If they let 1 or 2 park, next thing you know, you have 10 or 15. So with that being said, I talked to Jeff at one time about it, presenting this as far as the truck stop as one of the drivers out to the community, which I know is plenty of other drivers in the community that also go through the same thing I go through. And with going by the law, you have so many hours you can drive. Actually, they need, you got to have somewhere to park if you were going to run out of time. And if you don't have nowhere to park, then, you're in violation of the law. And there's a lot of property on the west of Northport that I feel like would be a good spot for a truck stop. Right outside of Northport. It don't have to be that far outside of Northport, but there's a lot of traffic that come from Columbus area that bypass through here all the time. My second concern is the city of Northport used to have a summer program for young kids of our area. I talked to someone last year of the city of Tuscaloosa. Kids over there had to be in the school system in order to get a job, summer job in that area. We used to have a summer job program here when I was in school, and now we do not. And I feel like it would be a big help to some of the kids that's in the community that don't have the opportunity. It really would give them a chance to learn the responsibility, working, dealing with their own money, and able to buy school supplies, school clothes. And I just wanted to bring that as well. That's all I have.
Hey, Mr. Steele, do you have a number just in case somebody needed to contact you regarding, because I know being a truck driver, it's hit and miss in terms of finding a place to park and lay down. So give me a cell number if you have one.
205-826-7463.
And the summer program of the youth employment program, I do remember that. I actually did it through the city of Northport, so years and years ago. I don't know, and Ron, I know there's some legal stuff, but it can be done. Again, it all comes down to budgets and cost. So if you'll give me 2 weeks, I'll have you an answer as far as what can be done on the city's end.
Okay.
If that means Public Works hasn't done it in a while. I mean, it's been well over 20 years, I know, since you've done it. But nonetheless, I would like to know what a cost may be if you hire X amount of young people. So I can have that. Give me 2 weeks. I'll have that cost to you.
All right.
And when I can get it with staff as well, and that way we'll call and just sit down and discuss as far as what options.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
I see Mr. Wells, and I know he's not on the agenda. I want to give you an update. Quintown. All right. I did go through Public Works. We are working on, I know you wanted a specific sign that said littering with a tag or a dollar amount. I want to make sure, I saw you in the audience. I want to make sure you. When you first come in, what I call 12th Street, and you make this little curve right there. That's where you want it? Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Okay. Hey, Brooke, that's really 30th Avenue and 12th Street. Can we get that? And as far as the ditch, Mr. Wells, if you remember when you came in during the forum, that's more of an engineering and a longer, budgetary item, because that's about 1,100 feet worth of ditch area. So we're working on that through engineering. Thank you. Item 14, ladies and gentlemen, is mayor and council members' business. I'll start with Councilman Hambright, District 1.
Mr. President, I really don't have anything from my district, but I do want to announce that we are having a administrative committee meeting tomorrow here at City Hall, open to the public at 3:30. So if anybody comes, I'm not sure if it'll be in the conference room or back in the other conference room, but somebody will let them know at the desk. But that's 3:30 tomorrow.
All right, thank you. Under my business, I have one item. I wanted to give everybody another update on MLK. Bruce Higginbotham with BKI is our design engineer or lead engineer with that project. His team has already started designing the actual, what I call the plans in hand. So he's actually freshening up some of the aspects of the environmental documentation process to make that work. If you remember, we had to start over from scratch 3 times. So this is the 3rd time. So he should hopefully have something to where he's going to meet individually with our stakeholders. What I mean by stakeholders is if you live right on MLK and you're a stakeholder, we start with our stakeholders first and work out. So Bruce will have something hopefully in the next few weeks that he can maybe come and meet with our individual stakeholders, and then we can have a larger public involvement meeting. But again, he's actually started on the design. Luckily, we had a concept everybody really appreciated and liked. So that cut some of his workload in half a little bit. So again, that's going along very nicely. So again, very much appreciative of mayor and council pushing this project forward. So that's all I have under my business. District 3, Councilman Sullivan.
I have none tonight.
Thank you. District 4, Councilman Davis.
Yes, Mayor Aaron and President Logan, members of council, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that the HR Director, Joseph Rose, advertise the position of City Engineer for 2 weeks, and that it be advertised at a grade 50.
All right. That's a motion by Councilman Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hogg. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Hambright.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilman Davis, you have anything else under your business?
The only other thing I have that is the 13th, which is next Monday. We'll have a projects committee meeting at 9 o'clock in the pre-council chambers.
Thank you. District 5, Councilman Hogg.
First of all, I want to thank the Retail Development Committee for all the hard work over the past 2 months. There's been a lot of meetings and a lot of things that's going on, putting together informational packets for everyone to digest and review. So I appreciate everyone stepping in and stepping up to the plate. Also, I would like to make a motion to move to have the HR Director to advertise the position of the City Administrator for 2 weeks, and that it be advertised with a salary range of $130,000 to $160,000, with other terms and benefits to be negotiated based on background and experience.
All right, thank you. That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hambright,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. President.
Thank you. The Honorable Mayor Donna Aaron.
I do have a couple of items. I would like for, with the council's approval, to ask our city attorney to work with Mr. Woodrow Washington, who has presented a plan to use the Hassan Center for a program called Academics in Motion, which would provide after-school tutoring for children 2 to 3 days a week, access to computer and internet, a movie night, athletic camps when it was feasible, and these are activities that would not be of any charge for the children in the community. Funding will be from different sources and also grants, and this hopefully will give the children a better opportunity to excel in academics and athletics. So if it's all right with the council, I would like Mr. Washington and Mr. Davis work together on a lease program.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if that's even, I think that's really just a directive. Isn't that right, Ron?
Yes, yes, sir. We'll get something and try to have it on the agenda for the next, council meeting and with some options on that. I know that, Ms. Starnes indicated we need to do about an additional $25,000 worth of work on the interior, but the exterior seems to be pretty good.
Ron, I have one more item. We will have the blood drive here March the 3rd, which is on a Tuesday, from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. Remind everybody to be sure to come and participate. She would also, the lady from Red Cross would also like to have at least one volunteer, if not two. If anybody's interested in volunteering, let me know. If you can do it in a couple of hours, anybody that would like to do that, let us know, and she would be greatly appreciative.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to jump right to item 12, which is executive session. Mr. Davis, again, this executive session is to discuss what I may call pending litigation and or property acquisition, not in that order, or is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, shouldn't take no longer than 30 minutes, and give us again the legal requirements for executive session regarding counsel.
That's correct. Let's vote, come back. We'll be about 30 minutes, and there will be no action taken by the council once they return.
All right, thank you. I move to adjourn the meeting into executive session to discuss pending litigation and or property acquisition. The session should take no longer than 30 minutes. It's anticipated that the council will not take action after the executive session is concluded. Again, executive session should last no more than 30 minutes. That's in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hogg. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Rose.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Hambright.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in executive session for 30 minutes. We are back out of the executive session. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hambright. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. We're adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.